Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of It's Your Birthday, the only podcast that gets you a gift every single week, and this week is no different, and that gift, as always, is video games. From inside your cigarette box, inside the trunk of this tiny Jurassic Park Matchbox Jeep from the original film, maybe it's inside
your medications. Maybe
it
it's
might be in your
inside
medication. It might be Yoshi might produce an egg that's a game there sometime or another. If Nintendo remembers they have him as a mascot. Hey, you know what? Really, if you think about it, maybe it's in you. Maybe the games have been in you the whole time. Maybe the games have always just been inside, you know, and then somebody pushed them out. Sometimes too early.
Yeah,
sometimes,
I mean,
hey.
You joke.
Speaking of, no. I mean that. No, I don't actually. I mean, there's a lot of truth in Goof, and that right there was, I think, more sentimental than I intended initially. But I was just thinking, you remember that game Outriders? That came out like a month ago, like 2 months ago, and just
like the wind just
now. I'm not going to say that I'm good at I'm just saying, I'm not going to say I'm great at this. But remember when Tyler and a few others were just like, I don't know, it looks pretty good. I'm going to play that shit. It looks pretty good. I was like, it's Anthem 2, I swear. And they're like, no, it's pretty good. Even faster. Out of there. Where did they go, huh? Where did Outriders end up?
I don't want to shit talk it too much because I think that I think a lot of what happened is that the game kind of got mired in a lot of technical stuff that ended up really like damaging the reputation of the game, but also the fact that like it kind of opened up the conversation that maybe like they're not really, because they always had this messaging that it wasn't a live service game, but it totally was structured like one.
Yeah, who are they kidding? Who are they trying to lie to? Maybe they just noticed that in the last like 10% of development, and they're like, oh shit, this isn't good that way. So you know what it is? It's a single-player co-op experience you can have with your buddies, and then it ends. Okay?
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
there's.
I'll ask you this: like,
yeah,
what I draw parallels of Outriders to is more of a Remnant than a Destiny, like in a way, because Remnant has like definitive ending stuff, but it does have the optional like Diablo like level grinding, like new game plussing, like it. I don't know. Like I kind of put Outriders in that same realm because
the difference is it's not class based. You get to do whatever you want in that game as far as the skills that you find, which you also find those. So that's a part of the game. You know, there's like it's a roguelike also more than any, like not a roguelike, but it is. There is a lot of roguelike elements to Remnant.
Sure.
And so like this continual loop of it always changing and evolving or whatever, and like the loot in it is like not there isn't any really, like there is like you get your loot, but that's like finite. That always is with you. So it's again. The challenge is finding a permanent item in the world that you get to then manipulate if you want to or tweak or whatever. And the randomness is what, you know, Remnant's an amazing game. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
One big difference is that game is good. That's
it's
another
super tight.
Really big difference.
The shooting in that game is like almost unparalleled. Like it feels as tight as like Destiny does, but a completely different way.
You know what's wild to me, actually, like on this kind of same topic? I think if you look at EA Play's like top games, let me see.
They're not EA games. That would be amazing to me if that was the case.
No, so like I don't have it right here, but I'll pull it up on my EA desktop app. If you go to like their home and you go to like top played or most like popular games, Anthem is like number 3.
Yeah, well, they don't make that many games, buddy.
No, Anthem is number 1. So like they already announced that they canceled like development on it and everything. But it's still somehow the really, number 1. I don't
This
get
is
it.
a game that's so polarizing for me because like I do really like that game. Like when you play the game, the moment to moment action in that game feels really really good. It's just they didn't make there's a lot of things they didn't do, but the synergies between the characters were like feel great to pull off, but you don't do it enough, and you don't there's not enough ways to do it to like combo stuff together to make your synergy of your group feel better. But when it happens, it's awesome. And like the movement shit feels fantastic. Like say say what you will about Iron Man or whatever, any of that stuff, but like you do feel like you'd be you feel it feels good to do. And then like
Yeah.
AoE casting as the mage character, because I've leveled every character in that game up all the way, at least to its highest.
Because what
point.
else are you gonna do? I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, because the first little while I got really into it, like the first couple months before you could see the issues, but when you started to really crack open like how widespread the issues were, you're like, wow, this game really isn't going anywhere. Like we're not gonna do anything with this. Like because you started to notice it like on the gear at first. You're like, this gear doesn't make any sense. Like this whole thing's designed for like a shotgun, but it's like bonus to pistol damage, which you may not even be using or whatever. And then but it'll be like the armor itself, every version of that armor embedded in it is like increased to shotgun damage or whatever. And then it's like, but the skills on it that are rolled are like, how about this? How about stuff that you won't even be touching? So
I remember hearing once that like they buffed the drop rate of legendaries, and then like it felt like a fix, and then they rolled it back. So like what you're saying about like armor stats and stuff, like if you were chasing certain items, like it was easier to acquire those, and then they rolled that change back.
I was gonna say I was getting worse gear in the because I think at the time it was like. I think they'd said, I think it was by World Tour, but Grandmaster is what it was. It was like Grandmaster 3 or whatever was the hardest thing, and I was clearing that stuff, and I was getting worse items than I would have in the like base game, and it took 9 times as long because everything had like 8 fucking billion health, and you can't get good guns to shoot them, so there's that's the place where you get the good guns, and I think. As far as like the artifact weapons, I think I found 2 in probably the 105 or so hours I put into that game. So it was just like, what is this? Like, what do we do? You're not giving us anything, and then they're not giving you anything is because the whole game is really just finding those because there is no content to do. But like the crux again though, when they would do like the dungeons were fucking awesome, and they only made like 4 of them, but they were really really cool.
Very
and
little
like,
bit. Yeah.
You had some gigantic
content.
Boss that all had a bit of a puzzle to it and whatever. There was one that was like this his whole stage was like this underwater dome looking thing that he would pull things out of like that. It was super rad. But yeah, and then the world was like tiny and you didn't really want to, you wanted to explore it, but there was no real need to or purpose to do it. Cause like once you found your few glyphs or whatever on the map, you're like, well, that's that. There's nothing to do here. The world event was just more of the same boss that nobody liked already. Like the weakest boss, they're like, let's put these everywhere. And you're like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want the most obnoxious boss all over the map. It sucks. Like that boss was like not fun to do and had like way more health than most of the other ones. And it was just like, it was so frustrating. Cause all the other, like all the other dungeon ones were cool. But yeah, I could talk about Anthem for a long time. That's really crazy that it is the first game on there. But God, yeah, it's a real missed opportunity, honestly. Like it's like a shame because that game really did have. Well, if we're speaking of, I mean, how this all started, to me, it had way more potential than Outriders ever did. Like if we're comparing those two,
sure,
if Avengers didn't have that property, if you just show me that game with like any other characters, you'd be like, nah, I'm okay. Like, because the game there is just like, so I fight one type of robot for the whole time, and then the new gear I get is like literally just a number. Like, it doesn't change my character at all. So that's like lame. And then I mean,
hey man, that's what sets that Marvel mobile game apart from Avengers. I'm just saying, like,
it adds a lot because that game plays itself and it's still more fun. Like,
dude,
Do you know what I mean?
Let me tell you this. I'm like already level 50 something in it. I haven't spent any money.
Buddy.
Not spent any money in it. But it literally, like, there are modes that you play where you you just don't have the ability to turn on
there's
auto.
There's a button that you press and it just automatically does everything. It'll even turn in quests and shit.
There are some modes that restrict like the automatic combat. There's only a few, but like here's the deal: a good mobile game to me is something I can just tap into, get some rewards, do a couple things, put it aside, maybe return to it later in the day. That game I can just set on my desk and just like occasionally hit something and numbers go up. So I don't know. It's
I would say, well, one, I value my phone's battery and I don't want to just burn it all day on that. But but to that end, if that game wasn't online, I would play it way more often. But the fact that it's like always connected to data, to like to a fair bit of data all the time, I'm not into it.
It's embarrassing how much I like that thing.
I think it's cool. I mean, I've ripped on you quite a bit for it, but mainly just because it is like very clearly a mobile game that again, if a game can play itself for you, you have to question like, is this game difficult? Like any challenge to me at all, or is it just the endorphin hit, you know, of like a game that just makes you feel like you're doing something? But I think as far as those games go, it's one of the best ones I've seen, and it runs really well. Like
We're
if I really
this guy
wanted
on the show real quick, just so I can show the footage.
Sure.
Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, like even if it wasn't gonna just annihilate my battery, like I think it runs at like 120 frames on like my phone and like on the iPad, because those both have screens that fast. Or if not, it runs really smoothly and it looks really nice. It's that question of like, why is this not on consoles at all, or like the PC to some extent, or whatever? I mean, to me, and this is the thing about this game is like the superhero equivalent of Black Desert. Is like you just sit there and watch this character do a bunch of crazy shit while 8 billion people are always around you. It's the same game to me. But like I haven't seen the mobile version of Black Desert, but I bet it looks similar to this. Would be my guess. I have no idea, but I assume it looks really similar. But yeah, dude, if you put this on like, see, here's the thing. I had burned my PS5 to the ground just letting it run over there where I played everything else on this computer. Like I'm fucking running a sweatshop for this Marvel game because I have the sickness too. But I don't know. It should just be on other stuff because it's...
The other wild thing to me is that like the opening roster of this game is super strong too. Like you have
it's
like
much better than Avengers.
Spider-Man's actually in this one. You have Star-Lord, you have Doctor Strange, you have Iron Man, Captain America, Storm.
Yeah.
Like you have a bunch of characters that'll never set foot in that other Avengers game.
Well, and the thing about that other one too is like I think that like the game itself like plays well enough, and the classes, from what I understand, are like fairly distinctive when you get more into them, I guess, or leveled a bit more. But you do look at it and you go, well, I got green punch guy, I got stretchy girl punch guy, I got what was it? I've got shield punch guy, or then I've got who's the Black Cat, or I guess she has like a bow and a gun or whatever. But it feels like 4 of the like 6 characters are just punch guys. So you're just like, well, is this that different?
Yeah.
Because like Iron Man and Thor are kind of the same character a little bit, and then like, well, Spider-Man doesn't exist, and then I don't know what Black Panther plays like, and I won't. I've had so many options to buy that game for $20. It's been on sale. It's been on like 4 consecutive sales at Best Buy in a row for like $20, and I cannot bring myself to do it.
I mean, this game has this shit where like I get a core and attach it to a badge or whatever, and like I see a number go up, which is like my total damage, and I just get this like endorphin rush. Like,
I know, that's what I'm saying. You got to question: is it the game or is it the rush? Is there a game or is it just are they really good at giving you the rush?
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the things about New World that is so captivating. Is like, there is this specific sound that happens every time you do anything good in that game, and it's like this really sharp ding, but it makes you feel like something's happening every time to let you know you killed an enemy, you got like an experience thing, you did a level, you did something. There's this very distinctive, like, they're like training you like a dog. I bet what's going to happen is Amazon is going to use that sound to make you purchase things on its shipping app. It'll use this like ding, and then you'll go, I gotta order something from Amazon. I think they're strength training you, but but yeah,
you'll get the Amazon drones in this game.
Yeah. But yeah, that being said, I played 5 or so hours of this game today, and like I was telling you, I'm trying to not play a lot of this because it's all gonna get wiped, and I'm already pretty sold on it. Like this is the first. I like the idea, and the few clips of it I've seen. I was like, I think this could be the one I get really into, and then, but I was like, but I just need to feel the game and see what's going on. So yeah, this beta definitely did that for me. Like I'm 100% on board. I want to see what's going on here because it's got. Like, the combat seemed really, really simplistic, but it starts to ramp itself up the harder you get and the more you understand what it's asking of you. Because there is quite a bit more precision to the dodging and moving around enemies than it seems like there would be. And there's also not, as far as I've found, an auto lock-on. I think the game is asking you to be precise with your swings purposefully. So, like, it's not like a Mordhau or something like that where it's like direction. As far as I can tell anyway, it's not like directionally based swings on that, but it's like you have your swings in this certain pattern. So you need to really angle yourself to make those connect. And, cause you start with a sword and shield basically, and then you can kind of randomly find the other ones as you're doing the first like couple missions, which, I mean, it moves you right along. Like it's it's a pretty quick into like, here's that. And then here's your, here's all your gathering skills. Here's all this. Cause it is sort of like a survival crafting game. Weirdly. Like it feels like the world itself feels like that. Cause like every kind of other rock you can pick up, like basically every plant you can try, like most of the world is harvestable to some extent, which is like not, I mean, you know, every MMO you play, you're like, well, I'm going to fly around this entire 50 kilometer or 500 kilometer map to find the 2 herb plants that are on here and pick one up, hopefully. Or if it's old WoW, it's like, well, if this guy gets to it first, I'm fucked and I'll wait for the next one. But this one is really like, there's just shit everywhere. And it's not intrusive. It's just like this very light circle that's like, you can do something with that one if you get closer to it or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah. I guess basically, I'm probably going to rant for a little while because there's a lot of stuff I've noticed in this short time that I think is really, I think it's really smart, like what they've done with this game. So it's like, go ahead.
I guess before we get into it,
before I lose my shit and how excited I am, but go ahead.
I think it's good. It runs good. It has no reason being this good due to like, you know, all the turmoil behind like Amazon games, and like this game's been in development like delay hell for a while. So it is impressive that it's come out in the state in a beta at least, but it's out at the end of the month. Well, what were you saying?
Well, they made the right choice to keep delaying it. Like weirdly, you don't usually say that, but it's that thing of like it wasn't that they were necessarily delaying it. It didn't seem like because I don't know. It's not, you know, like a lot of delays are different for every company, I guess, but this one did seem more like it did very much seem like they were delaying in improving it with a direction rather than like
for sure
just delaying it to delay it. It seemed like and like I said with this last one especially, they seem to be taking a lot of feedback and really working on it. Because I think
and that's the impression I got during the last beta, is that like a lot of people that I follow who play games on YouTube were like, yeah, like this game feels totally different than it did a year ago. They've really made improvements. They're listening. And so that word of mouth from like recent betas is what really got me excited for it. And I played the first. Go ahead.
They have the luxury of being Amazon and having what feels like at a point almost limitless money somewhere to keep things going to some extent. You look at, I'm not going to say
you look at Crucible and like they instead of rebooting it like they thought they would, they just outright cancel it. Like
but that's that's another product record. No, no. But again, another product of going, we've got enough money to design 3 full games. If we don't think any of them are going to work, we'll just can them and keep going on the one we do. And
Yeah.
because Amazon, I mean, is too big of a company, and it goes into too many avenues for them to not keep trying to do something in this space. Because it's like, I mean, fuck, they sell games through their website. They see the money, like they see for like for the all the game sales, console sales, accessories, all this shit. They see it more than probably most companies to a varying degree. Well, they get the beauty of seeing the whole industry as a scope. Whereas like Sony probably has an idea of what Microsoft's doing, but they don't have exact numbers. Whereas here they're like, well, this is Microsoft sales right here through us for sure. We know what they sold, and we know what kind of deal they tried to make with us to put this here. You know, whatever. They've anyway. That's a whole nother tangent. But they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna bow out of this space quickly, without reason. And yeah, at any rate, I think it's good that they've delayed this as much as they have, because it really does. It feels really nice. Like it's a really good game, and they've made a lot of smart design choices, I think.
One critique I have, I guess, from my time playing it, I played till level 9, I think. So not too much, a couple hours when I got home today. The damage scaling for like the magic stuff seems odd. So I started leveling intelligence, right? And I got the fire rod, and I know I get better weapons down the line, but the default sword with low strength was doing more damage than the fire staff I had with a higher base stat, and like leveling both of them like at the same time. Like the sword was always outclassing damage, and I don't know. It just felt a little weak.
It's because it's a melee game, so they want you inwards. Like the bow is also really weak compared to like all the ranged weapons are weaker than the melee weapons are, like across the board. It's not like you can kind of go more in if you want to, but like if that was the case, like you're not gonna put like anything into strength at all. Like you want all of whatever the ranged damage is gonna be. But intelligence, I think, might only be for one of them is just for the healing staff. Maybe that's focus.
I'd have to see it's focus or one of those. But yeah, intelligence is the stat for the fire staff, because what's cool is if you put points into something, it'll give you a base weapon of that type. So like,
so what I'll say is like it is like. When you're in a group, I think it'll make more sense because you get a lot of AoE stuff. I think that gets more utilized there. Because in solo play, it seems very much like you're just pulling with that, like you're pulling with your ranged weapon, or if you're running from them, you're using it. But it's like because the way I have mine set up is like I played for a while, but now I'm doing dual hammer and fire staff. So it's like I'll do a AoE, because there's also a thing that if you initiate the fight with the AoE. It does more damage. So like that, there's like a burst on the ground or whatever. So you pull with that and then fire till it gets to you. And then, it's like one hit. The hammer is super strong. It's like my favorite weapon in that game so far. You like fuck people up with that thing. So yeah, cause even, I don't know. It feels intentional that it is less, but it's obviously something they'll tweak too. Cause I think they buffed it this last one anyway. So I think maybe they'll probably buff it again.
I mean, I hope they do, because like it's a whole skill tree just like every other weapon. So if like and plenty of people, like I basically in MMOs like playing ranged and like mages primarily, and I think like not necessarily catering to that play style, but at least making it more viable would be nice. And I'm certain that stuff becomes better later with like gear stats and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, well, I was gonna say that too.
Very early.
Most gear I've seen is catered towards melee too. Like all of it has strength on it, like or dexterity. A lot of it, I haven't found much that has intelligence on its own. Apparently, from what I was reading in like the chat there, a lot of people were saying that magic items are supposed to be harder to come by. Like they're not like as commonplace as everything else, because there's also this thing called the ice gauntlet, and I want that in the hammer, but I can't find it, and I want to see what that thing does, because that seems like well, just the idea of freezing someone in place and then shattering them with a giant hammer seems pretty ideal to me. So I want to see that.
Seems pretty rad.
But yeah. Yeah. So as far as like stuff they do that makes it like the streamlining of this game. So like for example, with crafting stuff. One, it's like if you're crafting like I don't know like 30 logs, you just hit I want 30 logs and then it just does one craft. That's all of your logs. You get all of your experience and all that stuff from there. Great. Because it's like a lot of other games, it's like you got to sit and craft every single fucking one of them. And I get it because it's a subscription model, so they want you on there as long as possible, as long as they can justifiably keep you there. Otherwise, and that seems to be one that they don't they do on purpose. Like they keep that going for a while.
Yeah.
And in this game, that's not the time restraint, and also there's not a subscription game either, so that also doesn't necessarily need to be there. So that's really nice. The fact that like you can just use every weapon and do all the crafting and do all the like fishing and everything is whatever. It's all just your character, so you don't have to like. I'm gonna like the most you have to do is like maybe switch gear and a weapon, but everything else is like gonna be there the whole time. And I think the nice thing about that is when you get a new weapon, it's usable like that moment. It's just you're not gonna be amazing with it, but you can be coherent with it as soon as you pick it up. It's like, oh, okay, I found a new rapier. I don't know what that does. Let me see it, and you can just fuck around with it for a little bit because you probably have another weapon that you're good with already, and then you can just goof off with this thing and see what it is and still do damage.
Yeah.
And I think that's really neat. I think my biggest gripe with it is just moving around the world. Is I think they want you to be engaged because this PvP element that you can opt into seems to be a pretty big portion of the game, or it seems like something they want you to do. So like fast traveling uses a currency that you only get from, or that you mostly get from doing certain quests and then stuff for like factions or your guild or whatever it is, or town development, I guess, because you're all putting money. You're paying taxes and putting money to help build the towns and make them better, which is kind of neat, I guess. Apparently, if you control
I don't
that
know
territory,
that whole. Yeah.
So if you're like, so what happens is if you build a guild, then the guild leader, the guy that created it, becomes the governor of whatever city state that you've captured, and then they can set like the tax to whatever they want. They can maybe not whatever they want. There's maybe a limit, but they can choose the tax limit for the area, the breakdown of this, so like it's a few other things. So there is like an incentive to be a part of that because it seems like it has some benefits. I noticed that like the storage cabinets are per city. So like if you put something in storage in one, it's not going to be in the other one. But if your faction controls both, you can see both of them, which is a weird one. And like I said, fast traveling costs. So I think the idea is that it wants you to be moving through the world more often, like by either helping other people out or by engaging in the PvP in some way or something, because it's giving you this weird incentive to go back and forth on foot as opposed to traveling like you would normally. But I think that's also where the housing comes in, because every, I think, 20 levels you get another house, and you can build one in whatever. There's like a bunch of different city states you can build a house in. So I think why you get 3 of them is because I think you'll probably be able to fast travel between those without cost, would be my guess.
Yeah.
And so,
is it like is it like an individual house next to other people's houses?
No, it's one house that you phase into, and you can decorate your room and do all that stuff. So it's like Phantasy Star or like most games with housing, because the idea of player housing is awesome, but it's like it's almost undoable. It's like you can't. It's not. They're like what is the game that does have it, and you can do districts.
Well,
or
Final
that
Fantasy,
might be Phantasy
yeah.
Star. Oh,
it's
Final
Final
Fantasy. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like somebody bought, the housing market is similar to how it is in real life, where somebody bought like a lot of the houses and they're not selling them, or they're selling them for an insane amount of money or whatever. And there's not like new houses don't come up that often. And you're still phasing into an area with pre-built housing. So it's
yeah.
in a game that's not about crafting. And even then, those are all really small, where it's a lot to try and make happen. Like player housing is insane. So, I would imagine, because it's Amazon, they have a great catalog of in-room and home products that you can put inside your house. Dude, how great would it be as if in New World they have a magical Amazon Alexa that you talk to and it'll order shit for you in real life?
It's pretty good.
Honestly, my biggest concern with this game is that Bezos owns the company that owns this company. But no, I think that I think there's a lot to like there. So that's a cool idea. Having a house at all in a game is cool. Like if you can actually get it. And it seems like everybody's gonna be able to get one, which is a big step, which is neat.
Yeah.
And then what was I gonna say? The fishing mini game is pretty fun. It's pretty like once you get it, you'll probably get it every time, but it's still like feels fun enough to do. And then let's see. I had some other like smaller stuff. I think the inventory stuff might need a little controlling because there's like a lot, and also every crafter you just see everything you can craft there at once. Like there's no like working your way up. It's like, which is in a way kind of nice because you're like you can see everything you can make immediately, and so you can see what you kind of want to work towards because there is like a lot of resource gathering, I imagine, to do that stuff. Or you could probably just do dungeons and never fuck with it at all. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you have to do any part that you don't really want to. It seems like stuff's going to progress either way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing about it is it does feel like you're always doing something worthwhile all the time, which is like hard to do in an MMO. But when it does work out, I think it feels. I mean, I think that's what an MMO is supposed to do because if it's a game that you're supposed to be in all the time. So if you're always doing, it's the same thing with the Final Fantasy. That game has a good, generally good, especially later on, feeling of like something's happening and that this character, since it can do everything, it's always worthwhile to do anything almost because that one character always can do something new, which is I think what like older MMOs like WoW especially and stuff like that is like. I think they subvert that a little bit with like account bound things, but or like account wide. Sorry, not account bound, but account wide items or whatever. Kind of does that a little bit, but I think these games do a much better job of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I also hope there's mounts. I don't know if there are, but I hope there's mounts in this game.
I think there is. From things I've read that like they've talked about like mounts in late game.
Let me see.
I don't know if it's a thing in the game just yet, but I do.
No, it says if you're wondering if there's any mounts, the answer is no. There are no mounts in New World, and the game does not feature a mounting system. But let me see when this was written. July of this year. So.
I swore I
2 months
thought I
ago.
saw like that was something that like the devs in like a post or something made where they were talking about like a possible like future inclusion or something. I don't know. Could be wrong on that.
Okay. He says the director says according to game director Scott Lane, in November of 2020, the entire region of New World is simply not big enough and doesn't warrant the mounting feature. Furthermore, it's unlikely that we see the feature being added in the game in the near future. So, that's what they say.
Future. Yeah.
So maybe not. I would assume they would eventually do it because there is no sprint either. You're always sprinting all the time, so there's no like increased movement speed, and it does feel a little cumbersome to get back and forth with some places because one of them it was like 800 meters apart each way, and I was like, I'm going.
Kind of reminds me of Outward in a way.
Yeah, but in Outward, I think that whole game is the travel, is the journey of that, but it does.
Yeah.
You do start to see the same stuff over and over again, so it does get a little repetitive. Because I really like Outward, but I would say, I don't know. I think it's handled better in that game than it is in New World too, actually. But it seems more intentional than a little bit more than it does here, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm on board for it. I think I'm.
Well,
on board
$40
for it.
isn't a huge ask for a game that'll get updated for a couple years and that you won't really have to play all
Have
the
a
time.
subscription model and yeah.
Yeah, because I'm always desperate for an MMO that's good enough that's not a subscription. Because like I love MMOs, but god damn, I don't want to pay every month for a game I'm not gonna play. Especially when there's so many other games all the time. Like I want to keep up with one, but I don't want to have to pay every month to do it, or at least another 15 just to play the same game again that I already bought a lot of. And I get it, server space, all this other stuff. Like I understand the cost, but at this point, yeah, I don't know if you're not Like at this point, a platform makes more sense than just a game. You know what I mean? Like with all the streaming stuff that's available, or like, PlayStation Now, Game Pass, Luna, what the other one we make fun of all the time. With all those things, you're like, well, that's $12 a month to play all these games. I'm paying 15 to just play this one. Why? Like it just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense anymore, really.
I mean, hey, would you pay monthly for Fortnite though? Would you do that?
No, but you do anyway. You do anyway.
You do.
But the beauty of that game is like it's the same with like, and I think why Elder Scrolls is so successful is you don't have to, but you could if you wanted. Like Elder Scrolls, I think, is a more egregious thing because they like lock up bag space and shit in the monthly subscription, so it's a little rougher on their end because it is Bethesda and they gonna get paid. But I think that. That like Guild Wars. I mean, you see how many people play Guild Wars for how long? Why? Because you don't have to pay for it. You bought it already. You just keep playing it.
And the thing is, like, I got pretty hard into Guild Wars 2 for like a solid month. I bought all the expansions, everything, and then never really touched it again. And that was a couple years ago. I think when the latest expansion came out. And I know that stuff's there, and if I wanted to, I could download it and play it anytime I want, and like that's a good feeling.
That's the big thing is kind of ownership, because it's like you sort of just have your account, but I don't know, it always feels like it could just go away. It doesn't feel the same as another platform, I guess.
That's why I'm a sucker for like the private server stuff, but that's like a whole other topic.
Sure.
It's a whole other thing.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this I'm super excited. I'm fully on board. Like I said, this game wasn't even really on my radar. Like the first little bit I saw of it, I was like, oh, that's not gonna work. And then or not gonna work, just not gonna be a game I give a shit about. And I've fully turned around on that. Like I'm super excited about it. So yeah, end of this month, 28th is the tentative date now. It should be the final one. It seems like this is official. I mean, the game runs well enough now that you could put it out if you wanted to. But
the only other weird thing I ran into was audio problems. And I don't know if you've had this, but like I was doing a quest where you had to go into some caves, and I was killing a bunch of those like white zombie things, whatever. And I would like have the combat effects just disappear, and I had the ambient audio, and then like pickup sounds would work, and I would like hit escape and get back, and all the sounds worked, and that happened a few times.
Yeah, and that may be server sync stuff too, or whatever. Because I mean, also the servers are getting pounded, I think, and they got pounded the first time. But I didn't have that specific audio issue, but I did have one where all of the sounds got. Like it went from like what would have been 80% down to like 30, and then they all went back up. Like there was a few different times.
Well, that kept happening too. Yeah.
I did have that one a few times. I started to notice. But
dude, it's not a bug. It was just funny to me. But the other thing is that like when you're running through populated areas, you'll occasionally just hear like in the distance like a character fighting, and you just hear. Yeah. Like you're just running, and you're like, well, yeah, shit's going on.
Yeah,
no other combat. You just hear loud grunts, like you're at the gym.
Yeah. Well, I think they might be because you can at a certain. I think at level 10 or 15 you can duel people, so it might be dueling. I don't know.
Maybe. It was just funny to me.
Yeah, no, that is goofy.
There is a weird lack of music too. I don't know.
You know, I didn't notice, but I was watching. There's a really good Godzilla anime on Netflix. And so I've been kind of watching it at the same time. But I will say, like, almost all the characters in this game are voice acted too, which is kind of wild. Like all the NPCs and stuff.
I think of the main quest. I've picked up a couple side quests, and they didn't seem to really talk. But the core of it, at least, yeah.
But the story is interesting enough so far. You like crash land, and then your captain gets turned into some crazy mutant thing, or he just basically evaporates into red dust and then shows back up as this big bastard. But it's that same thing of Dream Cycle. That was the other game I played this week. It's the same thing as Dream Cycle, where it's like sort of gives you this opportunity to have pretty open-ended stuff happen in that game. You can kind of pull from a few different avenues if you want to. But I really like the design aesthetic and the art direction stuff in New World. It looks really nice, and I think it's cool to see a game like that time period that's not Greedfall. And then
what's this? I think you were telling me about this game
briefly. Yeah. So Dream Cycle, it's from the creator of Tomb Raider. It's his new game.
Yeah,
it's sort of like a rogue like basically it's Dishonored, but if you made Dishonored like a roguelike in a lot of ways, which I mean, obviously you say that to me and I go, yeah, go ahead. What do you got? So I was so I was like, I checked that out. It's like $15 I think for the launch week, and I think it's just $20 for the early access, whatever. There's so many good ideas in this game, and I hope that they capitalize on what those are, because it's like it needs some polish for sure. Like it doesn't run poorly. Like I didn't have it crash or anything. I did have like a weird bug where I'd saved the game before the map was going to open up. So when I loaded back in, the map piece never showed up. So I had to restart the game, which took about like 10 minutes or whatever to go through the tutorial thing again. So that was a bit odd, but I did save it at a weird spot. Like I saved it like 10 minutes in, which is really strange. That's a quick time to do that. But so that's a bit of a weird issue. And then so what happens is basically it's like your family is tied to some ancient thing, and there's like a dream realm that you're able to go into, and you're trying to find somebody that stole your powers, basically. So you do that by virtue of going through this dream portal that has like a map, and so you're sort of trying to track down these people on these locations. So the biggest thing about the map is like 10,000 pixels or whatever, and every single one of them is like a randomized map with some reward tied to it or whatever, and you have to like work your way over to like set destinations for like main quest blips or whatever, but you're kind of working your way over there, and you can like pay to scout farther out so you can do some other stuff, so you can skip like it's definitely not intended that you go to every single one of them, but there is the option to do so, I guess, if you wanted to. But so to that end, like the fact that you can just go into any dream, what I hope is that the 10,000 thing is not like, or the map for this is not just all this tile set, because that's going to get really boring. Like if that's all it is, it's like, oh, this whole map of all these 10,000 that you're not going to go to, they're all just castle. And then if you go to the next one, it's like, oh, that's all just forest. Like it's not, I hope they interchange that shit more, because the idea is like you're in a dream, so anything could happen. So I need it to get a little bit wilder than what is happening here. And to that end, with being all that is it's narrative based in similar ways that like Hades is, or like Returnal is, or whatever, where it's like you're finding bits and pieces of your story as you're kind of going through any of these randomized areas. And so the crux of that is like they're curated to an extent, but they're still built procedurally. So like I had like a castle that had like 3 towers built inside of itself going up. So it's like every stairway would go to a point and then stop, but then another stairway would start like right above it. But that would go, there'd be like stairs would go like this in the building. So I'd be like jumping up and I'm like, oh, well, wait a minute. It's just a circle of stairs descending around. Like the procedural limits of it are like not tight enough to where certain things don't happen. The weird thing about that is it makes like traversing that environment way more interesting, because you are still having to get like to the top of these structures sometimes, but you're having to do it by like sort of manipulating errors of how the world's put together, which if it was a dream, I guess could happen also. Like it's weird. Like it feels like it doesn't feel intentional, but it doesn't feel out of place either. It's really weird. And I don't know if that's like by design or if it's just random. Like it's just, it is early access, so maybe that's that. But yeah, so it's like, but yeah, like I say, Dishonored, because you get powers, and like your first one is literally blink, and it works exactly the same way as it does in that game, with the exception of I think this game is built in Unity, so you have that jank on top of. It's like if you build Dishonored in Unity, it would be like, I don't know, maybe not as smooth, maybe not, whatever. because like the speed and the distance and like the tells of like the teleport are not near as good as like in Dishonored. Because like Dishonored, you know exactly where you're going, and like the game slows down when you're even doing it, or you can make it do that. So you like pause and you're like, I'm going here and doing this or whatever. This one's like kind of trial and error. And what's really weird is like your use ability is your middle mouse, but if you hit spacebar, it cancels it. But spacebar is also jump. So like you have to jump in the air, then hit your thing, then teleport to your deal rather than like just jump and hit it. So it's like if you're trying to like use your blink to like kind of cheat your way up something, it's like fucking really hard to do. Because it's just real strange. But your second, well, maybe not your second ability because they're randomized around the map. So wherever you end up going may be a power you find or not. But I've also found duplicates, which is kind of lame also. But again, it's very early. Like it's a lot earlier than it seems like it would be. The game runs fine, but again, I think it's like, I mean, this is fresher out of the gate than it feels like. But it's still polished for the most part, and it's plays well. But yeah, the second ability I found was like crows. And you could go basically anywhere. Like you look at over like it could be like 200 yards away, and you can just put your crows on it. You just teleport. So it's like, all right, well that was that. And then and I was gonna tie that into Returnal because that game's amazing, but I don't think I will because I've talked a lot. I haven't talked much about Returnal, but that's another one of I think my favorite games of all time. Man, that game gets so much better the more you play it. Because even after that game is really not that game until like the second boss. Like once you get that grappling hook, it really changes the dynamic of how you move around some of those maps. Because you can really, it's crazy. I had no idea it was going to change the gameplay up that much, but it does if you want it to. That's a great game.
Dream Cycle looks cool. I'm kind of into that. I'm kind of into the way that game sounds and looks.
I think it's worth.
I'll give it a little bit, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's definitely worth investing in the idea of it. Because I think, I mean, it's the guy that made Tomb Raider. There's a lot of Tomb Raiders. This guy's put some games out a bunch of different times. And like, if he's already putting a game out at $20, I feel like they know what they can do here on a budget. So I think it's worth seeing because there's a lot of good ideas. And the platform itself could be manipulated in a lot of ways because, it is a dream. It's just whatever. You want to happen, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Dream Cycle is cool. I think it's cool. I think it's worth checking out.
I haven't played really anything this week. So I mean, I played stuff, but it's stuff I've talked about.
We played Vampires.
Yeah. We did play Vampire. That did come out. It's interesting. I don't know quite how I feel. It's actually drawing a lot of parallels to Hyperscape for me. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. Like not as far. Like the verticality in the city. Like I think that is very reminiscent of that, and I hope it's not like some distant death bell ringing because like I can't get my mind around it. Like,
I think it's more interesting than that game just because I think the speed and play and verticality of Hyperscape wasn't the problem with Hyperscape. I think it was the fact that it was like it kind of looks like Apex and we're also shooting guns and it's like I might as well just play Apex. Like I can't move near as much, but Apex is a way better game than this.
Hyperscape also every gun was hit scan, so snipers were entirely overpowered. It just got to a point where
they kind of are in this game also because there's no drop off or anything. You fire that gun, you're firing that gun. Like if you have them in your sights when you aim, you're hitting them, and they do a
Hyperscape.
bit of damage. But
yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Like the abilities are cool. The movement I think is really cool. I honestly it's another kind of game where I was like, oh, I wish this wasn't a battle royale. If this was like a co-op PvE game, we had like 3 buddies jumping around a city as vampires fighting off waves or whatever. That could be pretty fun.
Dude, if they make another Infamous game, they should make it co-op. That's just one man's opinion.
Yeah,
Infamous would be
awesome.
Dope. And I also been playing. I guess like the Game Boy I have, I picked it up again and I started playing Final Fantasy Tactics, and I checked the time played on it, and I've put 12.5 hours into that game.
The Tactics games are awesome,
dude.
And so they disappeared, but they were awesome.
I played Tactics Advance as a kid, but I couldn't really wrap my head around it. But like now I'm playing it, and like it's real deep. It's deeper than I thought it was. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, on the IPS display on that thing that I have, like, I don't know if did I ever show this thing on the show? Did I ever like?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I think. But yeah, just in case. This thing.
No,
dude,
you did. I
get
it.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, no,
but
it's
anyway.
awesome.
Yeah, I put a lot of fucking
actually,
time into Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Good ass game. That's my verdict.
I don't know if I'll be able to get it to there from my phone to this chat thing that we have anyway quickly, but I did weirdly enough see a guy is selling like a regular Game Boy Advance with he made like limited edition Final Fantasy Tactics Advance like prints, like shells for it, and like all the buttons are like, it looks sick. It looks really nice. Like
that's rad. If you remember,
I'll
here it is.
I'll send it to you on Discord. Hold on. I'll just send it to you in our chat in here.
Okay, yeah, then I can show it on the show, and you don't have to do any editing.
Nope, don't want to. Hey, look, somebody's got to go to work early in the morning, but I do.
For sure, and we
All
still
right,
got games to play too. So
we do. All right, I sent it to you.
Okay, yeah, let me pull that up real quick.
It looks fucking
yeah,
nice.
that's rad. Oh,
it's really nice. They even did if you like zoom in, they even did sticker treatment on the back of it. Also, you can't really see it in those, but he has like specific Final Fantasy printout stickers with all like the serial number information and all this too. It's really nice. I'll be honest, I almost did it.
So I like the unhinged model just because I like the original like DMG kind of like layout, the original Game Boy Color. I like the way that feels. It is a little cramped though because I'm not a child anymore.
Yeah, and the Advance always felt better to me.
These are way more ergonomic than that. And I've been eyeing some of these, but I shouldn't. I should not.
Nah, but look at that thing. Well, no, dude, especially when that old Steam Deck's on its way, because you don't even need to worry about it no more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we should talk about Sony's State of Play, and then I'm going to talk about Sony's Hitman pricing for a second, just because it's
okay. That's
ridiculous.
Fine. I do just kind of want to narrow this down to like the few big things that I'm most excited about. I guess I'll get my first one out of the way. I'm probably most excited about this one.
Yeah.
God of War Ragnarok was shown off a little bit more. Looks super good.
Have you seen, dude, Fat Thor makes me want to buy that game on its own. Like, I don't know if you've seen the guy, his Instagram account, one of the artists put up like the images of all the characters individually that he did. And Thor is like has this big ass like pot belly and shit. He looks great. I've never seen Thor not be a handsome douche. So
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it.
He's in the trailer. I mean, it's just him without a shirt.
I haven't seen. Okay, I didn't draw that. I just thought that the Thor that they showed in this was like from behind the back with the hammer. I didn't.
No, they showed him straight up charging him with that thing.
Okay.
And then you do like some kind of ice spear or whatever. I will say, I think is his name Atreyu? It's not, is it? That's from Neverending
It's
Story.
Atreus, but yeah.
Atreus, that's what it is. If they didn't use the same actor, they got a really good voice actor to sound older, like to sound like this age of a kid. And then
I think he is. I think it's the same kid, and it has been a few years. So,
but it's like it's timed right. He sounds like good.
Yeah.
He sounds like the age he's supposed to be. Like it sounds great. It looks.
Yeah.
This game looks cool. I gotta finish that first one, but this looks awesome.
Dude, I almost wish that you didn't see the trailer for this because there's a couple things it gives away.
I kind of thought that's the case, but I sort of forgot about that already. I mean,
because when we were talking about it, you were like, Lady in the Woods, and I'm like, there's a little bit more to it than that.
Well, I still don't know anything else. Like when she attacks him, it could be for any reason. In this, I have no idea why. I mean, like we just met, so I don't have any assumptions about her yet.
I'll just say the first God of War, it's a game about family, and that's what matters.
Yeah, you play as Vin Diesel.
It literally is a game about family.
Yeah, I assume that because in the trailer they're like, "Why don't you stop being a dad and be a general?" He's like, "No, I'll never stop being a dad. Not to you, not to anybody."
Yeah, I thought this was the only shot of Thor in this thing.
Yeah, him running at him right here. Big fat Thor.
Oh.
The character of him is just like the model that he shows off in the thing is like he just has his belly out and no armor on. But he
If
looks
that's
good.
the angle they take, yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, God of War, super excited. I need a PS5, I guess, at some point. I don't think
Yeah.
that this is going to be it until holiday next year. Is my bet. On the PlayStation blog,
yeah.
on the PlayStation blog, at the end of it, like Santa Monica Studios or whatever said, they said basically see you next year. So they'll have more to show, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, it's this and probably Horizon next year, and then they'll probably push Spider-Man to 2023, I would guess.
Is that the one that you want to talk about real quick, or?
Nah, not really. I mean, you knew it was coming. That first game did gangbusters, and Miles Morales was awesome also. And if like they got more ideas for Spider-Man, bring it on, because those games were awesome, and I'd play more of them, no problem. So it's like, you just knew, you know,
Yeah.
you knew they were gonna do another one. I think seeing their take on Wolverine sounds sick. I mean, they showed you like a 10-minute or 10-second like teaser, but that vibe already I was about it. I was like, that seems cool. It's just this dude destitute, drunk at a bar about to fight somebody. I'm on board. Dressed as a cowboy? What's going on?
Yeah,
I'm in.
I do
It
just
seems silly.
I do just want to show the Venom thing because I'm super into Venom. Venom's cool. So
Yeah, and he's wearing a fedora too, and he's got Joker makeup on. in this one.
yeah.
It's gonna be
He has a
crazy,
gun.
dude. Yeah, he's got 2 guns this time.
No, I'll play the full
and
Wolverine
both of them are
trailer.
Harley Quinn.
Because yeah, this one caught me off guard, caught me by surprise. I think it'll be cool.
I didn't have any idea until Klaus came out. I really
Dude,
did. In the second watch, I was kind of more like, oh yeah, I see this now. But at first, I was like, I don't know what this game is.
If Insomniac is making some Marvel universe, come on, that's fucking cool. That's really fucking cool to me.
Yeah.
I think out of any developer, they treated Spider-Man with care, and I think that they could do it with the other characters as well.
I mean,
So
if we're talking Sony, it would have been them or Sucker Punch. Yeah, are the only two I think that would have taken that and done pretty good with it.
yeah, definitely.
And Insomniac definitely. Yeah, they knocked it out of the park. Both those were great. Oh, dude, we got to talk about GTA 5, dude. GTA 5
dude, I
come
can't
out.
believe that they're making a 5. That's
Yeah, dude, they're making a GTA 5. It's going to be awesome. It's going to have cars in it. You can play it online with your buddies. You can pay for money. You can buy money in the game.
money.
You can buy money in the game. You can spend money to get money. You know what I mean? That's what people always say.
Yeah, you gotta spend money to
Um,
make money, baby.
And this is the literal embodiment of spending money to make money in game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, GTA 5's coming on there. I do like that they don't say anything about pricing or free upgrades or any of that shit. They're just like, yeah, we're putting it out there. But the thing is, though, is like all they're doing is cranking up the settings and then just putting the price tag on because PC already looks really good. And the annoying thing too is like this game's been like $15 for like 10 years. So like, are they really gonna ask you for more for just this? Like, especially if you already own it 5 times, they're gonna be like, give me a little bit more money, and we'll let you play it on, because you can already play it on the PS5 anyway.
Yeah.
Like you just get like the frame rate or whatever, and the Xbox.
I mean, it's
too,
going to
whatever,
open
or
up the
PC.
console features. I was thinking to myself watching this earlier, like, maybe they like update some textures or they add a few like new things to it. Do those changes come to PC?
To the online,
I don't
yeah.
know.
It is crazy how much of it was focused on the story, though. It was like a story trailer of like, check this out. You got this narrative. You can seamlessly switch between characters in the world. And like, what? Don't act like you're not just selling me the online. What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Chinese Nier looks awesome.
Yeah, this game looks pretty
I'm
cool.
into it.
It
It does look sick. I mean, it's my worry, and it's no offense to Chinese developers too, but their games always feel a little rough.
Oh, this is
And
a
I'm
South Korean
it seems
developer.
Like that might.
just a heads up.
See, here we go, though. Fair enough, then. Fair enough. My bad. My mistake. But either way, I guess it's. I don't know. Have they made anything else? That's my. I guess I don't recognize the studio name. I don't know. Shift Up. I don't know who that is.
I don't know if they've made anything else. Maybe Shift Up. Let me see.
Korean studio Shift Up revealed for PS5, but I don't know. Let me see. I get that.
I think this
Shift
is their
Up
first
dot
big
C-
game, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean it looks really rad. Like I said, I worry. Yeah, again, it just seems like it may not.
Damn, your video's been goofed
may not
up
be
for a minute. Damn.
Mine has.
Yeah, it's cool. You look glitched out. It's really neat. I like it.
Holy shit! Yeah, that is wild looking. Okay, hold on. I don't actually know if you can show this on Twitch. I don't know there are limitations there. But I went to the Shift Up store that was an option on their website, and it's just straight up titty mouse pads, like animated titty mouse pads, and like wall scrolls. Oh, actually, you can get a water bottle with like a lady's just wussy blowing in the wind right there, dog. It's
Yeah,
wide
probably.
open for you.
Yeah, probably can't put that on the Twitch.
Probably can't. Interesting though. That's their other big business.
They also made a game.
But the game looks cool, man. Yeah, they're also making this game apparently. It looks sick though.
It gives me
I
like
mean, it looks like a
Bayonetta,
mix
like
between,
Cybertech Bayonetta vibes. Like honestly, kinda.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like near like Bayonetta, you know, like Devil May Cry a little bit, Devil May Evil, I guess, really, because it kind of looks like a Resident Evil game a little bit with the character designs, somewhat, or the creature designs anyway. I was on board though when the girl got picked up and the guy's head was a chainsaw made out of spikes.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll play this game. I was like, what is that? I'll play this game.
Is it just me, or is it like ever since Devil May Cry 5 that like this genre of games gotten like a big resurgence? Have these always been
I don't
around,
know
or
if
does it
it's
just feel that way?
Yeah. Well, you're talking even like Bayonetta 1, 2, those are there. I mean,
Sure.
Astral Chain's kind of that game. Devil May Cry is there.
Scarlet
Devil May Cry didn't
Nexus.
stop making games. Scarlet Nexus, Nier, both Niers, I guess. There's been quite a few other ones too. I guess those are really the main ones. But yeah, I mean, they didn't go away. They just kind of, I mean, games like go in cycles, right? Like, you know, they don't go away, but a genre sort of comes to the front for a little while, and they get more of
Yeah,
those, and then it sits back,
that's
and
a better way to put it for sure.
Yeah. We're still in the battle royale era, but now we're starting to tweak battle royales to get, you know, like you got Naraka, which is more melee focused.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we're about to reach the peak of battle royale genre, and we're going to start looking at other stuff. I mean, fuck, you made Pac-Man and Mario into a battle royale. I think we're like time to tap out and move on to another brand of something for a bit.
Yeah.
You know, grappling hooks for another one. Climbing games for a really long time. I'd say too long. Climbing games are out there.
Because of like Uncharted or just
Speaking-
in general.
No. Well, no, it started with the original Assassin's Creed.
Okay,
and then,
yeah,
like 1
true.
and 2. And then once that happened, everything was like, you gotta climb everything, and you have to see them climb everything all the time. And you're like, okay, guys, I do want some of this, but I don't want this all the time.
Speaking of climbing things, you think you climb things in this game? I'm curious. I bet you do.
Oh, Breath of the Island? Yeah, dude. I don't, actually, I like the
I like the look of this game. It
I
looks
like
cool.
Yeah, I don't love her character design. Like I don't love the people models, but the animals I like a lot.
And the environment looks pretty neat too.
Yeah, it looks really pretty, and I like the concept of if it's that game Everything where you can just turn into every creature that they allow you to, then I'm down for that. That seems fun. Objective based fuck around as an animal game, I'm into that. No problem. I'll play whatever that is. But
Damn, games are getting.
yeah, that seemed.
You said it a couple weeks back or last week, but it definitely does feel like we're here at a next gen because like these games coming out look fucking crazy. Just the fidelity.
We're there, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, these ones are. I mean, you're starting to see what that actually translates to, other than just like ray tracing. It's like no. We got our fidelity's up here now. Like we're getting some real crazy looking games.
Yeah.
Like they're no joke.
Like
Well,
even
okay, pull up-
Ratchet
pull up,
and Clank, like the new Ratchet and Clank in motion in game looks much better than pre-rendered cutscenes in like previous Ratchet and Clank games. Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought Future Tools
Well,
of
honestly, the
Destruction was about as
PS4
good as it was gonna get. Like when that came out, I was like, how can it get better?
The one they did about the movie on PS4 was awesome. That game looks really good. Like that Ratchet and Clank game looks. It's near. They're close. Like, but yeah, I mean, obviously, with the particle effects and the speed of the game or whatever, the PS5 one obviously performs better. I'm trying to find though. That I think it's like something spoken is the one I would like to say something about. I just can't remember the name of it now. And I can't believe it's not up on this. Cause it's like Square Enix's game or Square. Yeah, it's like a Square Enix game.
Oh yeah. New Square Enix game.
I can't think of the name of it. It's something spoken, I think. You'd think it would be like right there. I could also look too. Spoken PS5. Forspoken. That's why. It's because it's not a word I hear ever.
That's a made up dumb word.
Yeah, that's a dummy word. But again, I don't love the equipage, but the game itself, man, it looks cool. It looks like it's a super snappy action game, whatever this is.
I mean, it's like some of the developers from Final Fantasy 15 came over to do this. It looks like it's built on the same engine as 15, maybe updated a bit, but it looks good, man. Like,
yeah, it's snappy as hell. Like that action. Well, that's what we're talking about with next gen. It's like, oh, Square Enix's cutscenes are now the game they make. Great, because the cutscenes always look fucking phenomenal. And now you're like when I was playing fucking Final Fantasy Remake on here, holy fuck, that game looks good. At 60 frames a second too, that game is. God, it's gorgeous. Like it's really something else. And that's technically the last bit. That's not even moved into what we're at now.
For sure.
And that already was fucking phenomenal. Yeah, that's what I was saying when I was talking to you earlier. Is like just Sony just don't fuck around with that first party business or something that they know is like theirs in some way. Which 7 feels like theirs in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
So.
and I mean this does kind of like have the Final Fantasy open world vibes. Because, like, when I first saw this trailer and it pulls back, I was like, oh, she's, like, in a Final Fantasy world. Like, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance kind of has that same plot. But, yeah, you see the big spires coming out of the earth and shit, and you're like, yeah, this is a Final Fantasy-ass looking game in a way.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they know what their worlds look like when they design them. You know, so that's... They got some assets to work from already. They might as well utilize a little bit of it.
It is kind of just off topic a bit, but yeah, in Final Fantasy Tactics, the kids in that game are like fans of Final Fantasy, and then like they get sucked into the Final Fantasy world. Yeah, it's just crazy to me that they were like, well, not crazy to me. It's just cool that they were able to like directly reference their own franchise and make it work somehow.
Yeah. You should play A2 also. That's got a pretty interesting story to it, and that's a really good like tactics game.
That was on the DS, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. This game, I don't know. This game just looks really cool. Like I said, I don't know. I think the narrative angle. I like the bracelet. I just don't love her character so much. Like I think it's a little too like. I don't know how you say it, but it's like that thing where like. Kids are just like not kids, but there's like the I don't know.
Tude. Like, yeah, the word you're looking for is tude.
It is tude, but it's like a specific brand of tude where it's like that. It's like them. It's like an internet tude, I guess, but it's not really that either. It's that thing of like say it's like I guess it is internet too, where they're just like I literally like actual what the actual fuck, and you're like okay, dude, come on, like come on. We don't need that, dude. But they know who they're selling to. They know their communities.
Yeah.
They know who they want at Square for sure. So, but yeah, I mean, again, I'll 100% play that game, no problem. That game looks really wild and fast paced.
Yeah, and I guess last game that I am excited for in this whole endeavor is the KOTOR.
Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah, that one.
Oh
no, the Knights of the Old Republic. remake. This is
Oh yeah, Alan Wake. I'm stoked for that. But go
yeah,
ahead.
Alan Wake H. That's coming out like soon. That's like next month.
The 3rd of October. It's like
pretty
the
wild.
beginning of next month. Yeah.
And it's funny because you mentioned it like a week or two ago. You were like, they should really do that. Like,
yeah. Yeah, we broke the story on that, by the way, you guys.
Yeah.
Because we were just like, man, they should remake an Alan Wake game. And then, like, 3 days later, like, hey, guys, you asked for it. We're remaking Alan Wake. And we're already done. Like, so here you go.
it's
That's the craziest thing. It's like, it's already finished. So here you go. It's not even like we're doing it sooner or later. It's like, it's here now.
and that was Star Wars:
Like
Knights
the
of the Old
Nintendo
Republic,
approach.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
No, what's crazy to me is that like this is not coming. Like Aspyr, I think is in the business of like doing remakes and like remasters and stuff.
Yeah, I want to.
But like BioWare
I
was
worry
the
about that name.
people who did this one, or yeah, BioWare did this. So like, I wonder if they like got the license from them, or if they're still credited somehow.
Well, okay, so they must have it because they put Star Wars Republic. Oh, well, no, the Star Wars license is open, and it's been open.
It's
for
open,
a bit
but
'cause EA
KOTOR
doesn't
was
have
a
exclusive
previously,
rights.
it was made by BioWare. So I wonder, like, did they just relinquish the rights? Like, if Disney bought everything, like literally everything, does that include the licensing deals that like the other developers had for those games? You get what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah, no, I understand. I mean, I assume if you're fucking around with Star Wars and then you're also fucking around with Disney's they got their own properties stuff for themselves.
sure, yeah, sure.
I have to assume. But yeah, so here, I mean, here's maybe the concerns because they put Star Wars Republic Commando on the Switch and PlayStation.
That
They
was
put
pretty
Jedi
good.
Academy on there, and Jedi Outcast, both on the Switch and the PS4. And they did Stubbs the Zombie. They did Civ 6 Mobile, and then RWB Grim Eclipse Definitive Edition on the Switch, which. If they didn't, it doesn't seem like they're not a developer. I guess they just port. It seems like what they do. Because RWBY was on the PC and that game sucks.
Oh,
It's
Ruby.
like not a fun game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's that.
it's like
that's
not-
that Rooster Teeth animated thing. Weebs, Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
great-
where is Jet Force Gemini? They should reboot that. I would like a reboot of Jet Force Gemini.
Is that what you're saying? ROGBY or RYWBY or whatever the fuck that is? Is that what the back half of the alphabet? Is that what that game's about? Because I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know anything about it. Yeah, Ruby like
no.
passed me by. Like I don't care about any of that.
I got it in a Humble Bundle, so I tried it because I was like, oh, it's a Devil May Cry game, kind of game or whatever, where you're just like, slashing up some boys. Yeah, it doesn't feel very. It's not. A very fun game. I didn't care for it at all.
I guess your concerns are valid, but I think every dev has like their first big game, and like if they can do a remake of Knights of the Old Republic Justice, I'm down for that.
Oh, well,
That's a good story.
remastered, not remake.
Oh, it's a remake.
Remastered.
It's a remake.
It says remastered right on it though, doesn't it?
No, it straight up said. I'm pretty sure it said a remake. Hold on. Yeah, remake.
Oh, with a remake. Okay.
Yeah. So
I could have sworn it said remastered on there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty big undertaking to remake, though. But I guess also there's no date of any kind, so who knows?
am I gonna play Diablo 2 remaster? Yeah, we were gonna at the end of the show kind of talk about games for a minute that are coming out this month because there's a bunch. We're just gonna name off some, but yeah, maybe I might get Diablo 2 remaster. I don't know.
I won't.
I don't know.
I
Ever
won't.
since
there's too many other things out right now, I'm okay.
they're bumming me out with the.
I mean, it looks fine.
So they patched out ultra wide because it's broken. I guess like it just breaks the engine.
Well,
of
they
the
claim
game.
they can't put it in the game, but I don't.
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like that's the case. I feel like they're being a little facetious about
I
that.
started playing Diablo 3 a little bit
so-
recently, and it's fun. And so, like, if my if like a lot of the guys in Discord and stuff get into Diablo 2, I might be like more inclined to get it. I guess.
when it gets-
but
Yeah, when it's $15, I'm in. But I'm until then, I'm okay. I don't know. I mean, there's There's so many games coming out right
For
now.
sure.
Like I don't want to spend it on that one, I guess is what I mean. Cuz yeah, I mean Deathloop's first on my list for current, and then New World's right after that. And if New World is the game I think it's going to be, like we talked about, then I think that's probably my Diablo game for now, or my elaborate time suck.
Yeah, shit, dude. There's so many games coming out.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, yeah, because we got what? We got No More Heroes 3 was today. Tales of Arise was also today. That New World beta started today. Sony announced 500 games also today.
Life is Strange 2 True
there
Colors.
was-
I need to get that for my fiance. She would like that.
Yeah. Let's see. I can't read. This is hard to read on my end.
Fortnite Season 8.
Oh wait. I can.
That's coming out.
Fuck yeah, dude. There it is.
Uh,
Let's see. There was. Oh man, Pioneers of All Towns coming to the PC, motherfucker. I just have been playing. That's actually the game I probably played the most of the last like week, besides Returnal. But yeah, that I guess pretty good.
Medieval Dynasty
Yeah,
is
I don't
pretty
really
cool. I'd never talked about it on here, but that's a pretty neat game.
I'm not familiar with that.
It's like a first-person open world build survival craft game, but you kind of like have like a town management thing, and I don't know. It's up my alley. Like,
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did tell me about that when you first picked it up. I think.
yeah.
Death Stranding director's cut. I'm very excited for that.
Oh, there's a
second Lost Judgment.
There's a demo out for Lost Judgment, by the way.
The second one.
Yeah. So I think if you're interested in that, don't have time for an MMO.
I still need to play the first one I've gotten.
We talked about that a little bit earlier. It's just hard to focus on like put a really hard investment into an MMO these days.
Well, but hear me out though. What is Diablo 2 if not an MMO? Because Diablo 3 sure as fuck feels like one the way we've been playing it lately. Like just the way that you just keep going through. Maybe not the same amount of time, but it feels like you could really fall into that for several hours if you wanted to.
Sure.
But I feel you. Yeah, I don't know that.
Oh yeah.
Outer Wilds DLC. I forgot they were
yeah.
doing that.
That's happening. Yeah. So there's quite a bit coming.
Hot Wheels Unleashed.
That actually looks
kind of
good.
looks all right.
It looks pretty good.
It kind of looks all right. Yeah, it actually does. At least the cars look great. I don't know about the game itself, but the cars look really good.
So Ni no Kuni 2 is coming out on Switch, and I have that game on PS4. But the first game looks and runs really good on the Switch, so I kind of want to get that on the Switch, the second one, and play it there.
Dude, you can play. You can hang out with my boy Chinggis on Ni no Kuni 2. Dude, is my favorite character in that game. Your boy Chinggis.
Chinggis, yeah. Yeah, that's. I think.
I don't know if that's totally true though. I mean, you don't have to really commit. Well, that's the thing is it's an MMO without a subscription though, so there's really no commitment in the same way that an MMO has a commitment. I mean, I get the time suck aspect, but like if you're playing like Diablo 3 Seasons and shit, you gotta do a lot of shit in those games to get what you want out of it or finish the season.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's all about power creep,
MMO, but
and I guess as soon as you feel like you're powerful enough, you're
what is an MMO if not that?
Sure,
Like,
sure, but I think in an MMO you at least have more to it than just like the loot aspect of it, because like Diablo 3 doing the seasonal stuff, you're not paying attention to a story necessarily. There's no big world events happening. Like I think an MMO has a little bit more to say on some of that stuff and makes it a little more appealing to keep coming back.
So you're telling me it's better than Diablo 2? Any MMO? I get it.
I mean,
or Diablo 3.
I mean,
you're right.
hey,
I agree. I think that's true.
I could probably build an MMO in Roblox, and arguably,
I do miss raiding though. I do like raiding. That is a different beast. Raiding is fun. Doing dungeons is fun too. But I guess that's all Diablo is doing dungeons to some extent.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing I think that with Diablo though, and at a point, I feel like it's just a clicker that I have to play. And then it just feels like not really a game so much. Like And maybe I could be misspeaking because I haven't done like the higher tiers of Diablo 3 or whatever, or Diablo, but it does feel at a point kind of hands off. Like you're just, you know, like when we were watching Tyler go through the stuff with us, it was just like that guy was just a tornado going like 110 miles an hour, just killing everything in his path with like 2 button presses. And we're like, well, is this a game? I don't know if this is a game. But yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll keep it pretty brief because I would like to actually play some video games.
Yeah, for
tonight.
sure. Let's get into this.
I just want to mention this. Just this weird Hitman pricing thing that I just noticed, just because I was like looking to buy Hitman 3 on the PS5, and it's really strange.
Yeah, explain this to me because on the surface it looks fine, but
yeah, okay. So that's like so the way that Hitman is set up, right, is because every Hitman. Every new Hitman includes or adds the ability to import all of the previous Hitman maps. So all Hitman 3 has the potential to have every map that's been in the last 3 Hitman games all in that one game. They update them and add them to it or whatever. But the caveat being that you have to own those games to do it, or in some instances, well, in this one, they have the option you can buy those maps as DLC or buy those games as DLC. But so for instance, like base game $35, that's fine, right? But that's just Hitman 3, no season pass, just the baseline Hitman 3. Now if you scroll down a little bit you get like a deluxe edition of the game, which is $80, and that's the season pass, whatever. That's the whole package, not on sale, which Sony does this a lot, where it's like one version of the game is on sale but the other one isn't, and then the next week the other one will be, or something isn't. Like with Yakuza, the week prior it was like 3, 4, and 5 were $10 each, so it would have been $30. The next week, the Yakuza collection was on sale, which was like $20, and you got all 3 of those games. And you're like, fucking put them all on sale at once, or like just don't do it like it's just weird that there's like always these weird staggered pricing systems for the same content, kind of, and it's like it's just really odd. But okay, so then you go down to add-ons, right? And then it should say show more right under that. And if you click that, it'll give you, all of them. So for Hitman 3, you can either have Hitman 1 already and then have the DLC for Hitman. But then that's the Hitman 1, but that's the Game of the Year edition. So that's all of Hitman and all the DLC in that one. Great. But then you have, like, where is it? Hitman 2. So there's Hitman 2 expansion, so that's just all the Hitman 2 levels, but then there's also Hitman 3 access, which is Hitman 2 gold, but for some reason that's $100. So you can get the game without the DLC or the add-on without the DLC for $13, but if you want all the DLC maps from Hitman 2 in Hitman 3, that's going to be $100 for some reason, because there's also the like Hitman 2 expansion, then there's the Hitman 2 standard expansion, then there's like, I think even on the mobile app there was a Hitman 2 deluxe or gold edition something or other. Like I just I don't know. And that's before you even get into the DLC. Oh yeah, okay, because look at this. So here's what I'm talking about. This is a great example of it right here. So you can buy Hitman 3 regular edition for $35, right? Or $29 if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. And the deluxe edition is $90, right? Or if you buy Hitman 3 regular, or look here, there's a Hitman 3 deluxe pack. So that's a deluxe edition upgrade of the game, and it's on sale for $20. But you can't just buy the straight deluxe edition on sale at a discounted price. You have to buy the discounted regular game and then the discounted DLC separately to make up the same package. Do you see why that's fucking confusing?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know why would you set it up like this? It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's such a bizarre, like, I guess somewhere that makes them more money, and I guess I get that. But at a point you're like, what the fuck are we doing? What is all this? Just give me like, and that's before we even get into, because it's not a problem on this game because they give you both PS4 and 5 versions of it for either of these for the whole price, whatever. That's both versions. But if you start to get into the thing about the PS4 version and then the PS5 version of the game, then it's a whole nother level of tomfuckery with the same idea where it's like, well, The 4 version's on sale, but the 5 one might not be. But the deluxe edition upgrade for the 5, that's on sale. So you can get a discounted upgrade for the digital game you already have, or if you have a disc. The other thing with this, and this is the last thing I'll say too, is because like as someone who has a PlayStation Now, right? They're either download the game and or stream game service. You don't get the gold versions of these games on that service. So the PlayStation Now one is like, you can play this game while it's on this subscription, but if you want any additional content, you have to buy it. And then that game may come off that service, or you may not own that game anymore. So you've literally just bought DLC for a game you don't own in any capacity that you're like renting.
Yeah, that's been a problem for a lot of games, though. But yeah, it's even more egregious when this shit's so confusing.
Yeah, well, this already is, because you're like, I don't even know what I'm exactly buying in any of these, and I had to look it up, and I still don't necessarily have a definitive answer for what I'm actually like, what the thing is, like what do I actually own here with all this tomfoolery. It's just a bit of a mess, and then the generational gap is also a bit of a mess, which I think Microsoft is handling quite a bit better.
For sure, I think they have a good handle.
Same thing is like they'll. Like there's PS5 versions of some of the games that are on PlayStation Plus, but you get the PS4 one because that's part of the Plus, but you don't get the PS5 one, so you get like have a digital version while you're subscribed to that. But then that one I at least get as long as you're paying for that subscription or whatever. You have this, which I guess is what PlayStation Now is also, but backwards. Like you don't own any of those. Well, no, because it's the same service twice, is what I'm understanding really. One of them just gives you like slightly more options if you haven't already got them for free as a PlayStation Plus person.
Yeah.
But like,
this sounds like a nightmare, dude. This sounds like an absolute nightmare.
You know, it is, but I'm like really starting to crack the nut on how fucking belligerent it is. Because I've never messed with it before now, because I've always, like, I've had to have PlayStation Plus when I've owned PlayStations periodically, because you have to have them to go online or whatever. Or not to go online, but to play anything online. And so, like, I've gotten a few Plus games through that just over the years, so it's like it makes sense to just get that if I have a PlayStation somewhere. And $60 a year is not an insane ask. I still think it's a little too much for what you're getting, like going on the internet and also getting a free game every month of varying quality. Because, I mean, look, now that we've seen Epic give you a free game for free for 2 years now, the argument sort of changes a little bit. Granted, you know, I don't know. Not everyone has Epic's money, that's for sure. But either way, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just a weird situation on the store that I'm uncovering periodically as I look for certain games and find out that their pricing models are really wild.
It sounds pretty fucking egregious. Like, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, because on PC, it's like even if you own them on different storefronts, it's like they're like, yeah, well, in this version, just tell us that you have them and you can have them. You're like, you bought it on Epic. Well, do you have those other ones on Steam? Well, just bring them on over. You can have them. That's fine.
Yeah.
But here it's like this whole weird convoluted thing, and maybe it's because they gave you Hitman 2 for free this month that they've got the expansion pass as some crazy extra thing that you need. I don't have any idea. It's really weird, but I want to play Hitman 3 at some point. But it's just still not on Steam. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
just a weird thing.
That's video games.
That's video games. That's definitely video games. And the cost of entry. But thank you guys for watching. We don't have another From the Stack coming up this week. We're gonna have it. Probably next week. We're going to record sometime this weekend. We'll have a few more up for the following weeks.
Yeah, and as always, we'll be playing some bad games. Maybe we'll get lucky and there's a good game in a pile somewhere, but from the pictures Kelly's been sending me, doesn't look promising. But we'll
I can't wait for 2 of these that I've sent you. I did order Vex, though. I've talked about that game a few different times. It's like that platformer that you're like a bat sort of person with claws or whatever. It was on the GameCube and the PS2.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I know that.
And that came in. And I remember liking that game a lot as a kid, but it may not be great. I don't really remember, but I would like to see it because, hey, what a change up From the Stack if we play a platformer.
Yeah, definitely
so-
haven't touched that territory ever.
No, just every fucking except for Da Vinci Code, I'll give him credit. Every fucking movie tie-in game, you're jumping on something.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah. Other than that, I don't know. Do you have any upcoming stream, anything planned or anything like that?
Dude, at this point, I'm just waiting to get into this new position so I can focus a little bit more and do some more things, set a schedule.
Sure.
Once I'm able to do that, I will dedicate more time to whatever the hell this is. So that's that.
Sure. Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll get together this weekend. We'll record some shit. Y'all can see it next week. That's the plan.
Yeah. So yeah, nothing to. Well, nothing. Actually, it would have been today, but you don't know that because it's live and whatever. But it would have been today.
It would have been.
So you are. So you already know it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
You already know.
Mainly because there's too many damn games coming out, dude. God.
A lot of shit. You
and
still
I was-
haven't even beat Psychonauts 2.
No, well, no, because I was having that weird graphical hiccup, and it was kind of
That's
taking me out of the
right, that's
experience. I
right.
was kind of waiting
Yeah.
for it to go away, and now I'll try it again. But also, fuck Sony for showing Deathloop for a 15th time. I skipped all that though. I didn't watch any of it
Yeah,
because I don't want to see. And it's like 5 minutes away, but they're just like, hey, do you want to know all the? Hey, you want to see all the game real quick? Do you not want to play this one? You just want to see it? I'm like, no, dude, I want to play fucking Deathloop. Stop showing it to me.
Yeah.
God damn, it's some game about weird mystery and intrigue. I want the mystery and intrigue. Don't show me everything. You motherfuckers. But I think this is the last thing I'll say. I think the only reason they're doing that though is because like Dishonored and Prey didn't sell great, and I think maybe some of it has to do with like marketing from Arcane. So maybe this is their like put it everywhere all the time. Hey, this game's coming out. So hey, it worked for Cyberpunk. So yeah, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye y'all.